Hello everyone, welcome to this DCS video news and Q&A for October 25th, 2015. So in today's video, I'm going to be flying RAZBAM's M2000C in the Nevada map. Now during the mission, I'm going to be taking off from Creech Air Force Base, flying around to some locations we probably haven't seen before, and then end up at Mesquite, a little air base out there, and we'll do a mock CCIP attack. Now also during the video, you'll see some of the new navigation systems, particularly some of the new information on the HUD, as well as some new work on the air-to-air radar. In addition to that, as we're flying around, you'll see some of the differences between the high detail areas and the medium detail areas of the map. So that's what you'll be seeing as I discuss the DCS news, and then later the Q&A, which will also be about the M2000C. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the DCS World news now. The first item is that just a couple days ago we released a new DLC campaign for Black Shark 2 called the Republic Campaign. Now this campaign includes 20 handmade missions, hundreds of different triggers, fully detailed mission briefings and maps, as well as storyline within those briefings. And it should also be noted, as a Black Shark 2 campaign, you will have to have Black Shark 2 as well as the DCS 1.5 open beta. Now, in conjunction with the new campaign, we're also offering a 30% discount on Black Shark 2 that will run from now until November 2nd, 2015 at 8 o'clock p.m. GMT time. Now next, this past week, we released Hotfix number 3 for DCS World 1.5 open beta. Now, as with the previous two hotfixes, we're keeping a very close eye on the Open Beta 1.5 bugs and problems forum, and gradually fixing these items one by one. Now for Hotfix 3, probably some of the biggest improvements have been game stability, particularly with the Oculus Rift, several different fixes to the MiG-29 cockpit, fixes to how the mouse is rendered, and corrected some issues with memory management. Now naturally there are still other bugs still to fix, and those will be addressed in later updates. Now as you might imagine, most of our team right now is focused on debugging 1.5 as well as the L39, with the intent of moving 1.5 from open beta to release version as fast as we can. Now, speaking of the L39, probably the two biggest tasks we're working on right now regarding that project are the ZA version of the aircraft, as well as the interactive training missions. And just as soon as those are done, they'll be released anyway. Now, once we move 1.5 from open beta to release version, by far the biggest focus after that will be getting DCS World 2.0 ready for open beta, as well as the Nevada map. And lastly, our friends at Belson Tech have confirmed this week that they are indeed working on an F5E Tiger II for DCS World. And just as soon as they have some more details, I'm quite sure that those will be released. Alrighty then, so that's the news for today. So we're going to move on to the Q&A section. And for today's Q&A, it's going to focus on RAZBAM's M2000C, which many of you guys submitted questions for. Now, rather than me try to answer the questions, Zeus over at RAZBAM was kind enough to answer all the questions for me. So during the following Q&A, I'm going to be reading his answers for you. So first, will air-to-air refueling be modeled? The answer, yes, air refueling will be modeled. Next, any plans for a larger probe and drogue Western tanker? The answer, yes, we have some ideas for ADA KC-135. Next, I've heard the real M2000C has removable refueling probe. Is it removable in the DCS version? Answer is no, it is not removable at this time. We will see if it will be removed depending on nationality. Next, will we have to convert coordinates to input into the INS like the FSX version? Follow-on question, will we still input coordinates in reverse into the INS? The answer, no. The coordinate input will be different from FSX implementation, including normal input. Next, how does a synthetic runway display work? The answer, the synthetic runway is used during ILS approaches. Always displays a 3,000 meter flow to the runway. It is an aid meant to be used during low visibility conditions since it shows the exact position of the real runway. Next, does RAZBAM will use the DCS world navigation files beacon.lua and similar for the navigation data used in the M2000C, ILS data, for example, for the current Black Sea and future NTTR maps? The answer, yes. The aircraft will use maps navigation aids. The next question, how many waypoints can fit into the M2000 INS? The answer, the INS can hold 20 waypoints, but each waypoint memory can hold the following information. Waypoint lat-long coordinates, waypoint altitude, waypoint glide slope, runway heading, should the waypoint happen to be an airport, desired route and desired flight time, calculated an additional waypoint by using differences between waypoint lat-long and the new one, and calculate an additional waypoint by using polar coordinates, bearing, and distance. Next, can we save more than one route in the INS, like in the A10C? The answer, no. The INS can only store a single route. The real device uses a data cartridge with different routes that can be changed in flight, but that means deleting the current one when loading the new one. The next question is it possible to preset program navigation routes, targets such as the A10C and K50 using its computer? The answer, yes. Next question is the waypoint visible on the HUD? Does M2000C have anything similar to mark points? How the navigation/ground points designation, if available, sorted out? The answer is yes. In nav mode, it will show you the bearing to the next waypoint. In AG mode, the next waypoint becomes the target point. Next, will INU overfly to update the INU and reduce drift be implemented? The answer, yes, but the feature will be available only after the open beta. And the next question, how is the Mirage Autopilot? The answer, it is a simple implementation. It has 4 modes. A, altitude hold, which is connected by default when activating the autopilot. B, altitude hold, which holds the current aircraft altitude. C, selected altitude hold, which holds the altitude selected by the altitude selector. And E, glide slope and approach hold mode for automatic landings. Next, can the autopilot follow the waypoints by itself? The answer, no. The autopilot will not follow any waypoints. Next question, and will we have an auto land function? The answer, yes. This feature will be available after the open beta. Next question, will the aircraft be released in December with EFM or SFM? The answer, it depends on the status of the EFM at the time. Next, what info can be said in regards to takeoff and landing physics? The answer, all I can say is that it will follow as close as possible to those of the real aircraft. Next, PFM, avionics systems real? Those are all questions. The answer, all the avionics will be simulated. And the next question, when will we see the EFM model applied to the aircraft? The answer, when we feel that it's ready for showtime. At this time, it is not even in alpha. The next question is, will the M2000C, being the first flyable, fully fly-by-wire aircraft in DCS, is the fly-by-wire system a proper full fidelity simulation, and what are its most important implications for the flight model in-game? The answer, the fly-by-wire system follows as close as possible to the fly-by-wire rules of the real aircraft. Unfortunately, there is not much open information available, so many of the rules will be informed guesswork. Next, will we be able to override the fly-by-wire system by pressing the flight computer, as in the case with the flanker? The answer, yes, and believe me that you won't want to use it. Difficulty to fly does not even describe what you will face with a disconnected fly-by-wire. Next, engine overspeed in flight, the need for speed. I think that's a question. All aircraft's frame and engine limitations will be modeled. The next question, what are the turning rates at cornering speeds per 5,000 feet up to 15,000 feet, and what are the cornering speeds at each? The answer, we cannot answer those questions at this time. We are starting a series of test flights with our beta testers to see if we can match the values of the real aircraft. Our goal is to get as close as possible to the real numbers. Next question, what kind of documentation will be available at release? The answer, at Open Beta you will have a full flight manual. Some of the features will probably not be available and the manual will indicate so. Next question, what languages will the cockpit be available in on launch? The answer, for Open Beta it will be French only. For full release it will be based on nationality, meaning French and English. Next, will the Mirage launch with a campaign for the NTTR or the Black Sea map, or both? The answer, for both on full release. Next, will RMAT be included? The answer, it has not been decided yet. It is a contentious issue among us, the developers, and one that has been pushed back as far as possible. There are too many things to develop before we can take our time considering the fate of the RMAT. The next question, actually a bunch of them, are can you give us more info how guided bombs work? Will the M2000 be able to utilize the JTAC functionality within DCS world, such as MiG-21 is able to? How about buddy lays features? Can M2000 have an A10C to buddy lays for them? How is setting up GB12's laser code resolved in M2000C? The answer, the M2000C cannot laser guide guided bombs. It lacks the wiring to use guidance pods like a lantern. It trucks the bombs while another asset, either another aircraft or on the ground, illuminates the target. If DCS supports buddy lasing, as it does, you will be able to drop LGBs and will be able to guide by your buddy either on land or in the air. Next, any plan to add Micah missiles as future update? The answer, the M2000C RDI cannot use Micah missiles. The next question, will the Mirage come with earlier missile types such as Magic 1, R530, and Super 530F? The answer, no. It will only use the weapons it was designed to use, such as Magic 2, Super 530D. Currently is using the Super 530F as a stand-in, but it will be replaced in due time. Next question, will they change the FM for the 530 Super? The answer, yes. We are working on that alongside ED. The next one is actually a series of questions again. What weapons will be included for air-to-ground? What type of ordnance will be available? And proper French AG weapons, question mark. The answer, the following AG weapons will be available. Mark 82, Mark 82 Snake Eyes, BLG 66, GBL 12, GBL 16, GBL 24, BAP 100, and Matra FFRs. Regarding the Ccrp bomb release mode, does it look similar to the A10C? The answer, no. The M2000C has its own unique symbology. Next, will we be able to drop bombs on Ccrp mode with the INS? The answer, yes. The Ccrp actually needs the INS to function. Next question, will the RWR be functional when the beta is released? The answer, yes. Next question, will the Mirage 2000 come with a data link system? The answer, no. The Mirage 2000C RDI does not have a data link. Next question, what MFD category modes will the M2000C be capable of displaying? The answer, the M2000C does not have an MFD. It only has a radar screen with basic flight parameters and information, altitude, heading, etc. And we have another set of questions. They include, will NVG be included in the Mirage? I would like to know, will the pilot have night optics like the A10C? And what kind of visor goggle look may we expect? Is it modifiable like the A10C mod, where you can take the visor look and change it to a single lens look? The answer, no. The pilot did not use night optics. Next, will the Mirage be able to be equipped with a runway tailhook and or parachute? The answer, the parachute, but that depends on the info we have. The M2000C is a small aircraft, and many times modules like the parachute or tailhook were dismounted in order to mount something else more important. The next question is, will the Mirage come with the non-cooperative target recognition mode? The answer, I do not know. If it has one, then yes. The next question is, will there be an interrogate function to identify radar contact, like in the MiG-21 BIS? The answer, yes. The RDI radar has an IFF functionality incorporated. Next question, are there clutters in the RDI simulated ground clutter clouds? The answer, not at this time. All the info we have indicates that such clutter is actually dismissed by the radar. Next question, is it possible to program the chaff flare dispensers, maybe with multiple programs like in the A10C? The answer, yes, but we are aware that chaff and flares are very limited. The M2000C can carry 112 chaff and only 16 flares. Next question, will we have multiple RWR ECM modes for different threats, like in the A10C? The answer, no, the RWR does not have multiple modes. The next question is, even if we do not have active guided air-to-air missiles, does the RDI in TWS mode, or do we have to hard lock the contacts? The answer, you need to go to STT mode in order to be able to guide weapons. The RDI is not a solid state radar. It has a mechanical antenna that needs to be pointed at the target in order to guide weapons. Next question, what kind of feedback options, if any, will the fly-by-wire system provide through the stick for those of us who are equipped with force feedback joysticks? The answer, none considered at this time, perhaps after open beta. The next is another series of questions. Will the use of custom sounds for switches, inverters, warnings? Will sound of aircraft be updated in DCS? Will there be a sonic boom with annex animation and sound? The answer, the M2000C uses its own set of warning tones that are not the same as used by US aircraft. The next questions is again another series of questions. Let's see, will there be newer models of the 2000 release in the future, e.g. Micah exocet capable, or equip a TGP, or even perhaps the N version for nuclear delivery? Will we see other versions of M2000C in the future, like more modern M2000C-5? And are you planning to make release for the two-seat Mirage 2000B trainer version? The answer, not at this time. Next question, possibilities for cockpit builders, i.e. exporting of data, buttons to click, etc., to be used with DCS BIOS? The answer, we have not considered that. We'll see after open beta, no promises. Next question, is it possible to save some settings after cold start, INS alignment for instance, to perform a hot start, example QRA scramble? The answer, the aircraft has procedures for emergency takeoffs. Still, you will have to take some time since the aircraft does not work as easily as climbing into the car and turning on the engine. Next question, will the Mirage have a seat adjustment switch like the A10C used in real life when they come in for a landing to increase forward visibility? The answer, yes. The next two questions are, will the Mirage 2000 come with any supporting French AI units, such as a French tanker, AI planes, or ground units? And will AI wingman speak French or English with French accents? The answer, I do not know. Next question, what is the natural opponent for the M2000C in DCS World? The answer is any enemy aircraft that challenges it. The aircraft is contemporary to the MiG-29, MiG-31, Su-27. It can face any threat it meets. Next question, any chance to see a difference on afterburner color between day and night like the real aircraft? The answer, never thought of it. Sounds interesting. The next three questions are, with the recent release of DCS 1.5 and upcoming 2.0, will the M2000 be able to demonstrate new effects such as wing shaking or even arming pylons oscillating? Overwing vapor effects? Are there any features modeled like icing hypoxia? The answers, some will, but some won't. We don't have a definitive list at this time. Next question, have you tried Oculus Rift with M2000C? And if yes, is the radar rendering through the Rift? The answer, nope, sorry. So that is the end to this very, very long list of questions. Now there's a good chance I'll probably mumble through a few of these, so I'm going to go ahead and actually post the entirety of the Q&A to the actual video notes. That includes the news and Q&A section of the video, and I think the video will probably run for another 10 minutes or so. So I hope you enjoy watching the rest of the video, and I'll talk to you next time.